Every time the Terminator fires that silver pistol, it works perfectly. In real life, the AMT Hardballer Longslide had roughly a coin flip chance of jamming before finishing a single magazine. That laser required 10,000 volts and a jacket full of wires. The movie sold you a gun that never existed. This video examines firearms strictly as historical movie props and within a film analysis context. It is not about real-world use, tactics, or instruction. You see that silver pistol on the movie poster, and your brain reads it as expensive, high-end, futuristic. The myth, a premium weapon. You could buy a standard AMT Hardballer in 1984 for $199, less than a pair of nice shoes. The Longslide variant topped out at roughly $300 to $500, bargain territory compared to Colt. The company behind it was called Arcadia Machine and Tool, or AMT, founded in the late 1970s by Harry Sanford. Sanford had already run one gun company into the ground. His previous venture, Auto Mag Corporation, went bankrupt in 1972 after producing fewer than 3,000 units of a pistol with its own legendary reliability problems. He cycled through multiple corporate versions before landing on AMT, working out of El Monte, California, before drifting through Covina, West Covina, and Irwindale. AMT made the first entirely stainless steel 1911 pattern pistol. The standard Hardballer came out in 1977 with a 5-inch barrel, and in 1980 they stretched it into the Longslide variant with a 7-inch barrel and an overall length of about 10.5 inches. It was chambered in .45 ACP with a 7-round magazine, and unloaded it weighed 46 ounces, nearly 3 pounds of brushed stainless steel compared to 39 ounces for a standard Colt government model 1911. If you have ever held a full-size steel frame pistol, add 7 more ounces to the front end, and you understand why this thing handled the way it did. The name Hardballer referred to 230-grain full metal jacket ammunition, the only ammo the gun was designed to feed without choking. AMT also made the backup pocket pistol, the Skipper Compact, and several Auto Mag variants in Magnum calibers. Everyone shared the same reputation for inconsistent quality. So how did a budget gun with a troubled pedigree end up looking like a weapon from the future? The Terminator draws this pistol on screen, and it looks like absolutely nothing from 1984 cinema. The myth, an advanced exotic firearm. The reality, a standard 1911 clone in stainless steel that only looked futuristic because of timing. Every other movie gun that decade was dark, blued steel. Dirty Harry and his Smith & Wesson Model 29 had owned the space since 1971. The Beretta 92 would not get famous until Lethal Weapon in 1987. Miami Vice had just started airing with the obscure Bren 10. The AMT Hardballer Longslide broke every visual expectation at once. The all-stainless construction made it bright and silvery. The 7-inch barrel made it dramatically oversized, and in Arnold Schwarzenegger's hands, standing 6'2" at 235 pounds, it looked proportional instead of absurd. A standard-sized handgun would have appeared toy-like against his frame. The laser sight pushed it from recognizable pistol into science fiction territory, exactly the visual language a cyborg assassin from 2029 needed. James Cameron's original concept art showed a standard M1911A1 pistol. The jump to the AMT Longslide with the laser completely changed the film's visual identity. The gun ended up on the movie poster and in promotional materials worldwide. On a production budget of just $6.4 million, that pistol and laser combination sold the entire premise without expensive special effects. One unforgettable prop made a cyborg killer feel real. The gun looked like the future, but the technology behind that laser was barely holding together on set. That red dot tracking across Sarah Connor in the tech noir scene, you assumed it was a compact, self-contained accessory. The myth, a sleek laser you could buy at a gun store, just like the clerk describes. The reality, a helium neon gas tube running on 10,000 volts with cables snaking up Schwarzenegger's right arm, hidden inside his M65 field jacket sleeve, down to a battery pack in his jacket pocket. Every laser beam in the film was shot live on set with zero post-production. The laser was built by Ed Reynolds at Laser Products Corporation, a company that would later become Surefire. In 1984, compact laser diodes for firearms did not exist. The only option was a glass tube filled with gas that had to be electrically excited to produce a beam. A cylindrical power supply, about 1.5 inches wide and 4 inches long, converted 12-volt DC input to those voltages, all fed by a rechargeable nickel-cadmium battery. To turn the laser on, Schwarzenegger had to reach into his pocket with his left hand and flip a manual switch because there was no trigger-activated mechanism. The gun store clerk's line in the film about touching the trigger and the beam coming on was pure invention. Reynolds described the 10,000-volt system by saying, "It would not kill you, but it would knock you on your butt." He had been shocked by it multiple times during production. 2 prop guns were built. One was fully functional, modified to fire blanks and equipped with the working laser, used for action scenes including the tech noir nightclub sequence. The other was a non-functional shell for close-up shots. The props were rented from Hand Prop Room, a Hollywood prop house. Reynolds' compensation for building one of the most recognizable prop weapons in cinema was a t-shirt and some movie swag. The guy who engineered the Terminator's laser got paid in merch. How far behind was real laser technology? The first commercial laser sight, the Model 7 from 1979, was so large it had to be permanently built into a Colt Trooper Point .357 Magnum revolver. A competitor, the Imatronic LS-45, needed 2 9-volt batteries that lasted about 20 minutes. The LAPD had just started putting laser-equipped Remington 870 shotguns into service for the 1984 Summer Olympics, and that was the cutting edge. Today, a Crimson Trace laser grip weighing under 2 ounces costs $160 to $400. Budget rail-mounted lasers cost $20. The sleek retail laser the film showed you would not exist for another decade. The gun store scene. The Terminator walks into the Alamo Sport Shop on Victory Boulevard in Van Nuys and requests the 12-gauge autoloader, a Franchi Espaaz 12, the .45 Longslide with laser sighting, the Uzi 9mm, and a phased plasma rifle in the 40-watt range. The myth: you could walk in and buy a laser-sighted .45 off the shelf. No such product existed for any civilian in 1984. The clerk describes a trigger-activated laser as if it were a catalog item. That technology would not be commercially available for another 10 years, and few real gun stores keep live ammunition within customer reach on the counter. The tech noir nightclub scene. The Terminator draws the Longslide and aims at Sarah Connor with the red dot visible on her body in slow motion. The myth: flawless precision from a flawless weapon. That shot, using the real helium neon laser filmed live on set, became one of the most iconic images in action cinema. Kyle Reese blasts the Terminator with a sawed-off Ithaca 37 seconds before the trigger pull. The Terminator switches to the Uzi, and the Hardballer is done for the rest of the movie. Earlier scenes show the Terminator using the Hardballer to kill the wrong Sarah Connors from the phone book and to kill Sarah's roommate, reloading after expending all 7 rounds. Every trigger pull works perfectly on screen. The film shows that pistol held one-handed at arm's length like it weighs nothing. The myth: a controllable, practical weapon. A 46-ounce pistol with a fragile gas tube on top and front-heavy balance would cause the muzzle to dip immediately. Sustained one-handed shooting would exhaust any human in seconds. That is exactly the point. The one-handed grip is a filmmaking choice that communicates inhuman strength without a single line of dialogue. The police station assault does not feature the Hardballer at all. By then, the Terminator has moved on to the Armalite AR-18 and SPAS-12, one in each hand with stocks removed. The Hardballer was the precision prop. The long guns were the escalation. Every scene treated this pistol as flawless, and every scene was lying to you. The film shows the Terminator emptying a full magazine without a single malfunction. The myth: this gun works every time. If you had gone out and bought one after seeing the movie, you had roughly a 50-50 chance of it jamming before you finished that same magazine. The AMT Hardballer's quality problems are documented across decades of owner testimony and gunsmith records. The signature defect was called galling. Early models used the same alloy of stainless steel at the same hardness for both the slide and frame. When two identical stainless surfaces slide under pressure, they undergo cold welding, with microscopic metal transferring between surfaces until the slide locks up completely. One owner compared it to rolling a snowball to make a snowman, where the rails just keep picking up material. One Longslide never made it to 300 rounds before the slide froze to the frame. AMT eventually started using two different alloy steels, but that fix came too late for early buyers. Running an AMT dry without generous lubrication could cause permanent damage, and owners recommended exotic protocols including white lithium grease and molybdenum disulfide paste just to keep it functioning. Feed ramps came unpolished from the factory, and the barrel throat was cut only for round nose full metal jacket ammo. Hollow points and other shapes would hang up or catch. The irony of a gun called Hardballer that sometimes could not even feed hardball ammunition was a running joke in the community. The extractor was the most frequently broken part, often manufactured out of specification. One gunsmith found the extractor tunnel drilled off spec so badly the extractor could not hold tension on the case head. Factory magazines were considered junk, with owners replacing them with Wilson Combat 47D or Chip McCormick units. The Longslide had its own unique problem. The extended slide used a standard 16-pound government recoil spring, but added a solid stainless steel recoil spring plug over 2 inches long, creating serious extra reciprocating mass. The cycling speed was memorably slow. One reviewer described pulling the trigger, setting the gun down, making a sandwich, having a soda, chatting with friends, and coming back to watch the thing finish cycling. Some Longslides could not fully cycle with standard power ammunition at all. The typical gunsmith fix ran $200 to $300, covering feed ramp polishing, barrel throating, extractor replacement, recoil spring upgrade, magazine replacement, ejection port lowering, and deburring. You could spend as much fixing the gun as the gun itself cost, and at that point, you could have bought a more reliable 1911 from Colt or Springfield in the first place. Multiple gunsmiths refused to work on AMTs entirely, and one former AMT employee reportedly talked a law enforcement customer out of buying one because they did not want that gun in local police hands due to reliability. The company behind the most famous movie pistol of all time was already falling apart. The myth: the company behind the Terminator's gun was a serious manufacturer. AMT filed for bankruptcy. They could not survive their own quality reputation. They had found a real gap because Colt refused to make a stainless steel 1911 until about 1983 to 1984, and AMT filled that void starting in 1977. For several years, the Hardballer was the only all-stainless 1911 you could buy. Then, Colt, Smith & Wesson, Springfield Armory, and dozens of others started offering stainless 1911s with far better quality control, and AMT's value disappeared overnight. The ATF classified AMT as a Ring of Fire manufacturer, a label tied to cheap mass-produced handguns. Assets went to Irwindale Arms. In 1998, Galena Industries in South Dakota bought the brand and kept going until declaring bankruptcy in 2002. High Standard Manufacturing in Houston picked up some AMT designs but dropped the Hardballer. Harry Sanford died in 1999. Today, standard Hardballers sell for $400 to $700 used. Longslides go for $700 to $2,500 depending on condition, and sellers almost always mention the Terminator in listings. Pristine Longslides with original boxes have gone for over $2,500 on GunBroker. These guns are the textbook definition of a market value that obliterates their intrinsic value. A brand new Rock Island or Tesis 1911 costing half as much will outperform most AMT hardballers in reliability. You are paying for the myth, not the machine. The AMT Hardballer Longslide became more culturally significant than the company that made it. Almost nobody outside the gun world knows what Arcadia machine and tool was. Millions recognize that silver pistol with the red dot. The Hitman video game franchise extended the legacy across 8 mainline games over 25 years, with Agent 47's dual silverballers becoming gaming icons. The original prop was even loaned to the Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles television production. The laser sight may be the most lasting legacy of all. Before the Terminator, laser sights were a classified military curiosity. After the film, they were a consumer aspiration. Companies like Crimson Trace and LaserMax would satisfy that demand a decade later, but the film created it. The red dot tracking across a target became universal visual shorthand for lethal precision, a language invented on a $6.4 million budget with a helium neon tube, some wires stuffed up an Austrian bodybuilder's sleeve, and a stainless steel pistol that in the real world might not have made it through the scene without jamming. The AMT Hardballer Longslide is the definitive example of a movie prop overwriting reality. You watched a budget pistol with serious manufacturing flaws look like the most advanced weapon on Earth, and the film never once asked it to actually work. The gun you thought was deadly never even worked right.